I understand the Central was similar to other counties.
Yeah,
a 30-point.
Yeah.
30-point,
right.
basically his voting record, and the votes were really going against the platform, essentially, of what the Republican Party stands for. So, you guys followed, the other counties, and there was a vote: 18 yes, 2 no, and 3 abstained.
Correct.
And actually, you voted. You were one of the 18. So. But it seemed like there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure tonight. Just the feedback that I've talked to other folks. But what's your thoughts on that?
The pressure from the Graham folks?
Yeah, there was a speech given before the vote. There was a roll call. What happened?
Well,
with the roll call votes?
The resolutions committee meeting last night, the motion was made that the process be recorded all the way through. And I agree with that. Transparency is great, I think, in anything. So that motion passed, that the votes be recorded all the way through. So that's why we had, and it be made a part of the resolution. So that we did that. I thought it was good. I didn't hear any apprehension from anyone. People voted their mind, I believe.
Gotcha. And there's nothing personal. It's just it seemed like a lot of people just wanted to hold our elected officials accountable to the platform.
Well, and I have yet to talk to a single person that believes that elected office is a lifetime job. Almost without exception, there may have been a few, but I can't think of one. Anytime you're talking about we need to change them all out. Like diapers, they need to be changed every now and then. And I think that's what you see. This is the largest crowd we've had. Certainly this year, it's the first meeting of the year, but in months. Normally we have about between 35 and 40 people. Tonight we had 48, 49 people, pretty big crowd, and I could tell from the mood that people were glad that we're taking a stand for our platform. The local representatives in the State House and the federal officers just trample our platform. If they don't agree with our platform, they should run as some other. I don't care if they run. Anybody can run for office, but don't run on the Republican platform and habitually ignore it. You're not a Republican. I asked the question. We had a meeting with a delegation several weeks ago, and I asked them. There's a lot of talk about ethics right now. I asked them. I said, "Is it really ethical to run as a Republican in Pickens County, but then go to Columbia and consistently vote with the Democrats?" And you can look at the record. I don't have to name any names, but just look at the record. We have representatives who, at home, they say they're Republicans. They get across the river down there, and they vote the other way. I think that's unethical. We're going to have to start standing up and telling elected officials, you're either with us or you're not, and we need to clean it up, and that's the only way to do it. And a lot of people will say, well, you can't win in the other party. Well, that's not ethical.
Right. Now, Senator Graham has $7 million in his war chest. Mm-hmm. Senator Lee Bright was here, who spoke, and also there's 4 other candidates that are running against Senator Graham. Do they have a chance to beat Senator Graham as far as forcing that runoff? They would. Lindsey Graham would have to be below 50 to force that runoff. Do you think that's going to happen?
I think they have a good chance, but I'll give you an example. Nikki Haley, 3 or 4 months before the election, Nikki's first win for governor, nobody would say, everybody had written her off. There's no way she can win. And she won, and she's done a pretty good job as governor. So I think they can win.
You guys pretty overwhelmingly censured Lindsey Graham tonight. I believe the count was 18 for the censure resolution, and 2 against, and 3 abstained from the vote. But, just being in the audience, there was a lot of pressure. You had the big guns from Senator Lindsey Graham here. You had Kevin Bishop, who actually is an executive committeeman,
Yes, and he's also on the resolutions committee, which I chair, and that's where we heard the resolution that was passed to committee was last night. So there was a lot of pressure there, too.
That's right, and he gave a speech right before the vote.
My opinion is he wanted to appeal to people to continue in the way that we're already going. He did not appeal to anyone to change the status quo of how things are going right now, and so it was his last attempt, because obviously by the vote tonight, we see that any intimidation that may or may not have been being done either last night, today, it didn't work. People are sick of it. People do not want the same status quo. And we see that tonight. 18 people passed it. We had, in our normal procedure for Pickens County, when we vote on a resolution after coming out of committee, is not a roll call vote. That was the second amendment that was added to this resolution that would make everyone have their name and their vote known publicly tonight to vote for the censure. Normally it's a raise of hand, that's it. I want to say something. I want to say that to the people who stood up and said yes tonight, I am so proud of them, because, you know, we're all born we're all born different. And some of us, even though we want to say yes to something that's hard to do, sometimes they just can't do it. And 18 people said yes, and only 2 said no, and 3 abstained. I'm really proud of it.
But you see this throughout South Carolina. I mean, there's counties that have passed this resolution already, and I mean, I think Lindsey Graham's in trouble. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that he's got a tough fight. As Senator Lee Bright said tonight, he knows he's got $7 million. And, you know, because he has all that money, he needs help. And it's not always about all the money, but it's about people getting out there, educating people. It's the grassroots. I mean, if people, he mentioned Thomas Jefferson, which is one of my heroes, several times in his speech tonight. That's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to the Jefferson ideals, and the only way to do that, and the only way to change our federal government level, is to go ahead and change at our local levels, your House, your senator races, and move up the chain, because that's where it starts, and that's who we're sending to Washington.
Michelle, thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate
it. You guys joined other counties who have censured Lindsey Graham. And, I mean, the vote was pretty overwhelming in support of this resolution. It was 18 for the censure resolution, 2 against, and 3 abstained. What's your thoughts on what happened tonight?
I think it pretty well says what Lindsey Graham needs to hear. Yeah, he's lost his support. He's gone against his base. He's gone to the other side, basically. I mean, our resolution was 30 points. You can't do that and keep your fan base.
And that was 30. There was like 30 bullet points of his voting record of how he has abandoned the party platform. Is that right?
Exactly. Bend or completely broken.
Now, I noticed that Kevin Bishop was here. He's executive committeeman, but he also works for Senator Graham. And he actually gave a speech before the vote encouraging you guys not to vote for the censure resolution. It seemed like there was a lot of pressure, especially with having a roll call vote. And I noticed that people were, he was recording all the names and all the people voting for the censure. Do you think there was some intimidation tonight?
There probably was. That's the impression I got, and that's when I said yes, I said it extra loud so they could be sure and hear it.
Okay. So it took a lot of, for a lot of people, it took a lot of courage for them to just stand on their principle. Do you agree?
Yes. Well, you know what? To stand on your principles, to really stand on your principles, sometimes it takes courage, but other times it's just what you do because they're your principles.
Do you think that the vote tonight, do you feel like a lot of the people in the Republican Party feel the same way? Are they disappointed with Senator Graham?
Oh, definitely. Everybody I've talked to, except for the very few who actually work for him. I have yet to find somebody that doesn't work for him that isn't at least a little bit disappointed in what he's been doing the last, 10 years.
And I know Senator Lee Bright was here, he spoke, and I know there's 4 other candidates that are running against him. Do you think they have a chance? I mean, they're fighting against $7 million. Do you think that these 4 candidates have a chance at least to get him below 50%?
I think so. Between the 4 of them, I believe between the four, they can get the vote that's going to force a runoff. And the thing of it is, one of them is going to win out of the four to go in the runoff against Graham. As long as everybody gets behind whoever wins, Graham is gone.